Hi, everybody. Welcome to Ask Me Anything. My name is Rob Lott, and some of you, actually, probably many of you, do not know me, but I am a guest of Fantasy Playhouse Children's Theater and Academy here on Ask Me Anything. And I am thrilled to be here and to be kicking things off. So basically, what I've been told we are going to do is that there's a slew of these types of live events that are happening. And basically, it's with artists of all stripes and different disciplines, actors, singers, directors, and dancers, and you name it. They're going to have artists of all kinds on here, and you can, of course, ask them anything. So I'm the first one to go. Again, my name is Rob Lott, and I am primarily a performer at Walt Disney World in Orlando, Florida. Many people get Walt Disney World and Disneyland confused. Disneyland is in California. Walt Disney World is in Florida. We are the most magical place on earth, and Disneyland is the happiest place on earth. So if you're looking for happiness, then head on over to the other coast. But if you're looking for magic, we are where magic lives. So yeah, I have worked there for, it will be 20 years in October. We are all on a little bit of a break right now, as you may have heard. And so we have this time to be able to share with you for the next couple of minutes. We're going to do about 15-20 minutes or so. Actually, that's a good reminder. Let me set a timer here so we don't go way over. But yeah, so a little bit about me. I've been working at Walt Disney World for almost 20 years. Prior to that, I grew up in Ohio, and I really was I come from a rare breed, and maybe some of you can identify with this, a rare breed of people who always knew what they wanted to do. And for me, that was show business. I knew that I wanted to work in show business in one way, shape, or form. And so you just couldn't keep me off of a stage. If there was a stage, I was on it, or I was backstage. I was helping wherever I could at school and at church and community productions. And so just getting as much experience there as I could. And I was all set and ready to go to the Ohio State University, and I was going to study music there. But instead, a buddy of mine recommended that I shoot down to Orlando just for a weekend and maybe go to an audition at Disney, and maybe possibly I might be able to do the thing that I really wanted to do. I might be able to do that right away instead of going off to school. And so the rest is history, so as to say. I went to the audition and I booked the gig. And I started working in a show called Legend of the Lion King, which is, for those of you who were around Disney in the late 90s and early aughts, it was The Lion King as told in about 16, 17 minutes. It was a big, giant huge production of a puppet show, actually. And so I had this specialty skill to be able to come and do puppetry there. And I learned that show as well as a show called Pocahontas and Her Forest Friends, moving on then to a show called Voyage of the Little Mermaid, which is still open and running. And then Playhouse Disney live on stage. Oh, prior to that, I was in Bear in the Big Blue House. I played Pip and Pop in Bear in the Big Blue House, live on stage, as well as then Playhouse Disney live on stage, got to do that. But meanwhile, I was getting together with some guys. We were singing some barbershop harmony just on our own, getting together at each other's houses and doing kind of rockapella, doo-wop type stuff. And from that, we ended up getting an audition and getting a job and going to Tokyo and performing in Tokyo for just over a year in barbershop quartet there. And so when I came back to Orlando, Disney actually contacted me and they said, would you want to start teaching the puppetry at Walt Disney World? So I spent some time on the production side, but I was still getting that itch of wanting to perform. And so I ended up going to some auditions and ended up getting what is my current job, which is, I am 6 Bits Slocum at the Hoop-de-Doo Review at Fort Wilderness at Pioneer Hall. And that is where I spend the majority of my time. But I also sing with the Dapper Dans of Main Street USA, barbershop quartet there at the Magic Kingdom. I also play Marlin at Finding Nemo the Musical. And I am good friends with Crush, the turtle from Finding Nemo, over there at Turtle Talk with Crush at Epcot. So all of that to say that yeah, that is kind of my history and where I am now. My other job that I do, I work down the street also at SeaWorld. I do a silent character prior to the Sea Lion and Otter show that kind of messes with audience members as they come in. It's known as the world famous Sea World Mime. And there's a handful of us that get to do that. And it is a super fun job, all improvised and just making fun with guests as they come into the show. So all of that to say, let's go ahead and I guess we're going to open up for some questions. I can see here in the comments what your if you have any questions for me. They gave me a couple of questions that you might have preemptively, so I can jump to those and answer some of those. But if you have a question, please make yourself known in the comments. Yeah. So, oh, you love Finding Nemo. I love Finding Nemo, the show as well. Finding Nemo, the musical, you can see right there. They actually gave me that poster when I left because I was teaching the show as what is called a puppet specialist. I was teaching the show and I left to go back to the stage side, but not at that stage, not at Finding Nemo. I was going to go to Hoop-Dee-Doo. And so the cast all got together and they signed a poster for me, and we put that together. But then they came back, and I'll tell you, it is rare that somebody would still enjoy a show that they have spent so much time with. I spent almost 5 years behind the scenes, and now I've been doing the show for almost 5 years on stage, and I still love the show. So that says something for Finding Nemo the musical and the way that it's put together, but even more so the people that I get to work with. Let's talk a little bit about the people that I get to work with. We have a whole gamut of people from obviously varying ages, all different shapes and sizes. We have just so much available for talented people to put their craft to work at Walt Disney World. And so oftentimes people think that Walt Disney World is a place only for princes and princesses, that type, to work. And I'll tell you right now, not the case. You can be, again, if you know your type and want to work, Walt Disney World is a great place to do that. The people that we get to work with, I work alongside Broadway veterans, as well as people who have just come out of school with their theater degree. And but really, at the end of the day, we always like to say this, that Walt Disney World is not a place that you come and learn how to be an actor, how to be a singer, how to be a dancer, how to be a performer, an artist of that kind. Walt Disney World is a place that you graduate to. And so it's not a starter position. They are going to be looking for people who already know how to do the thing that they're looking for. But in addition to that, they are looking for, in some cases, they're looking for that triple threat. But for the most part, they're looking for people who are, depending on the skill set that they are looking for, they're looking for just really good people, honest. When I mean honest, I mean their performance is honest. Of course, we want them to be honest people, just in general. That's just good life living. But just that their performance is honest and true. So I often get asked, how should you approach an audition working at Disney? And truthfully, at the end of the day, really what they're looking for is somebody who is true and honest. And so bring who you are to the audition. Let yourself be seen there in the audition. and oh my goodness, just started raining. Yeah. So yeah, do you guys have any questions? I'm looking over here. We still have, let me scroll through here. Love Finding Nemo. Finding Nemo, however, fresh is one of the most favorite. Let's see here. Would you ever want to be a janitor? I do not have that skill set. I am rhythmic and I am percussive, but I do not have that skill set to be a janitor. They just did a series that Disney is putting out called Voices from Home. So if you look up, I think the Janitors, or maybe Disney blog, Voices from Home on YouTube, you can see a most recent performance from them. They're performing. They're from their houses, as all of us are. But yeah, they did a cool video, and so you can go and look them up, take a look at them. You listed a lot of different jobs. Do you rotate between them? Okay, so my main job is at the Hoop-de-Doo Review. 6-Bit Slocum, there is the name of my character. That's my main job, but I only spend 3 nights a week there. We have a 3-day cast and a 4-day cast there at the show, and I spend 3 nights a week there, which leaves me 4 days to be able to do the other shows that I do, Dapper Dan's and Finding Nemo and Turtle Talk and things like that, as well as some stuff, other things around town. So yes, I do rotate between them. However, my main responsibility and the thing that I'm held accountable to is the Hoop-de-Doo Review. Beyond that, I'll get a call from Finding Nemo saying, do you want to come in on Thursday? And that's up to me as to whether or not I can do that and I'm available. If I can do it, I do it, because I love that show. And yeah, when the Dapper Dans call, it's hard to turn down spending a day on Main Street USA singing barbershop harmonies, looking down one way and seeing the castle, and looking down in the other direction and seeing some amazing guests coming into the park to enjoy the shows. So yeah. What do we got here? Do you have a favorite role that you played at Walt Disney World? Yes, I do. I would say there's 2 roles that I really, really enjoyed. One early on was Sebastian over at Voyage of the Little Mermaid. He arrives, he's the very first live character that you see on stage, and he conducts the whole opening number of Under the Sea. And I'll tell you, it's just a really great time to be in that character, playing that role, and getting to kind of own the stage and point the audience where to pay attention to, what to do. The other one that I love so much, continue to love so much, is 6-Bit Slocum at the Hoop-de-Doo Review. The Hoop-de-Doo Review, by the way, for if you may not know, it is not the best show at Walt Disney World, but it's the most fun you ever had. And so I am the comedic relief of that show. We have 3 couples, 6 characters on stage. We have 2 live musicians, and it is a singing, dancing, vaudeville style dinner show. And so that is what I do, and I love it. I love it, love it, love it. What is one of your dream positions at Disney? You know, truthfully, I would love to get into the creative side of what is happening at Disney. I would love, we have what are called show directors, which are kind of a little bit different than directors in the theatrical sense. Yes, they are responsible for the theatrical guidance of the performances, but they're also more often than not responsible for actually creating the shows. And I would love to get to work at that level with some of those amazingly talented artists who create. Many of them started as performers themselves, but then transitioned to create the performances for everybody to do and see. Let's see, if you could offer one piece of advice to a student getting ready to go into the entertainment industry, what would it be? I would say can I give you 2 pieces? The first piece of advice is to say yes to everything for the first 5 years that you're trying to get into this. Say yes to everything. Say yes to every opportunity as you're getting into this, because what that will do. And when I say yes, what I mean is, if somebody needs a spotlight operator for something, say yes to that. If somebody needs some help with props and stage management, say yes to that. If somebody needs some help with turning pages for the piano player, say yes to that. If somebody needs some help on stage, of course, say yes to that. But it really is a matter of encompassing whatever experience you can get in the theater community. Say yes to any and all of it if you want to, in whatever discipline you want to get going on. People like to differentiate between film and television and live theater, as well as other disciplines of performance. And I'll tell you, for the most part, it's just a matter of saying yes to any opportunity within those. And then from there, you'll be able to pick and choose, because you'll have all this opportunity. You've proven yourself as being, hopefully, as being a good hard worker and somebody that is competent and reliable. You've proven yourself, and then more opportunity will come from there. And you'll be able to pick and choose after that of the things that you really want to do. Maybe you discover, I hate running spotlight. I'm just not good at it. I hate it. So then after that, you know that, and so you can turn that down. But then other things come along, because yeah. The other piece of advice is just, my goodness, let me lean in. Everybody lean in. Be nice, be kind, be a good person. the community is really, really small. And we all know each other. We are all just a few degrees away from each other and knowing each other. So word travels fast about performers that are hard to work with. So be a good, kind, honest, fun to work with person. At Walt Disney World, the oftentimes our casting team will talk about how they're not just casting for the stage, they're casting for the green room as well. And that goes a long way. If you can be a great performer on stage, but you're awful backstage, well, that's a bad situation because we are talking about year-long contracts performance-wise. But if you are, we can make up for it. If you're an okay performer on stage, but you're awesome backstage, we're much more prone to want to work with you and deal with you that way. So be kind, be a good person. Let's see, how many performances did you do as a kid? It's hard to say when you count the ones that happened in my basement for my family. My goodness, we must be into the thousands. Yeah. Let's see, did you go to character performer audition and work your way up into other roles at Walt Disney World? Yes, I did do that. And I'll tell you, you know, what's interesting about my path is that it is not necessarily a path. Okay, let me say this. My sister wanted to be a second grade teacher. And so there's only one way that you get to do that. There's only one way that you get to be a second grade teacher. You graduate from high school, you go to college, you study elementary education, you become a student teacher. And once all of that is done and you get the green light, you are allowed to be a second grade teacher. I wanted to be a performer. I wanted to be an actor, and there is no clear path to do that. So that's why I say jump at every opportunity that comes along. So in regard to me and my path at Walt Disney World, yes, I started in the character department. I'm character trained, but more specifically, I came in as a puppeteer with that specific skill set. But I also jumped in and helped out wherever I could. And I tried to just be a good, reliable performer so that when other opportunities came along, the directors and production team wanted to kind of pick me out to do those things. And so that's the way that I did it. So yeah, I started in the character department and worked my way into what I'm doing now. All right, we got time for maybe one more question. We got to see Hoop-Dee-Doo review once last year, just there in March for our anniversary. Love it. And yes, well, you're welcome. I'm happy that you happy that you came there. Thank you for coming to the show. And thank all of you for being here. So let me say this is a really cool thing that Fantasy Playhouse Children's Theater and Academy is doing. We've all seen the memes that are going around of, next time that you think that the arts aren't important, try spending your time now without music and without film and without books and without all of the things that artists make. And I'll tell you, right, Fantasy Playhouse Children's Theater and Academy, this is where it begins. This is where it starts. This is a nonprofit. And so I imagine there are 3 ways that you can help out the nonprofit world altogether, whether it's Fantasy Playhouse Children's Theater or if it's any other nonprofit that you support. Everybody needs help doing this. But since you're here right now, I would recommend that you, with Fantasy Playhouse Children's Theater and Academy, 3 things. Volunteer your time. Also, invite people to shows and come and be in shows and get people into those seats, into the audience. And then the last thing is give of your time and give of your money. So this is give of your time, this is give of your influence, and this is give of your resources. And by all means, we know how important this community is. We become very reliant on the arts community in times like these. And so this has been a really cool thing. I hope you all have enjoyed yourself. By all means, if you want to reach out to me directly, you can do that on Twitter or Instagram. That is at Rob A. Lott. Let me put it in here. At Rob A. Lott on Twitter and Instagram. And then yeah, that would be good. And so if you want to do a follow-up on any questions that you might have for me there, of course you can reach out and I'd be happy to answer any of your questions if we ran out of time here. How are you this will be the last question. How are you honing your skills while in quarantine? Well, I have a podcast called the Leading Creative Podcast. And so I've been, let's put that in there as well. Let's see, the Leading. So yeah, Leading Creative Podcast. Um, and so I've been creating a lot of content for that. And Leading Creative, the purpose of that show, of that podcast, is to bridge the gap between leadership and creativity. At the end of the day, leadership needs great creativity and creativity needs great leadership. So I talk about that through the filter of theater and live performance. But of course, the principles and everything that we talk about on that show are applicable to far beyond the walls of the theater. But that is something that I am doing to continue honing my craft. Of course, I am keeping up with, I do on my Facebook page, I do terrible 5-minute concerts on my trumpet. And they are not good. I don't rehearse and I don't have music. And so I only take requests and they're terrible. So you can find me, you can follow me on my Facebook page, which is Rob Lott. And yeah, what else? Yeah, as far as honing my skill, the other thing is there might be some videos that are coming out soon that we've been working on. You might see some things coming out soon, but you didn't hear that from me. Okay, I guess that is it. Yeah, they said not to let it go much beyond 30 minutes. So we're right there at about 30 minutes. Thank you so much for doing this, everybody, for joining us. I have had a great time. I hope you have too. Support Fantasy Playhouse Children's Theater. When all of this is said and done, volunteer your time, use your influence to get people into those seats there at the shows. And of course, don't forget to donate regularly. Have fun, everybody. Have a great day.